Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a while, but welcome back to Worship Drumming. In today's video, we're going to go over the drum tutorial for Resurrecting by Elevation Worship. It is about to be Easter in about a month or so everyone is starting to work on their songs for Easter at their church, and for some reason we always wait till Easter to do Resurrecting. I don't mean that in the sense that obviously Resurrecting goes along with this theme of Easter and why we celebrate it. I just wish we do the song more throughout the year because it's such a good song. Now, I haven't been making videos a lot lately. We'll talk about that at the end of the video, but let's go ahead and raise the camera and get straight into this. Now, before I start some of my tutorials, I like to sort of give a little bit of significant information about what we're playing. So really what's significant about this song is that we're not going to be playing a whole lot of standard common things in 4/4 timing. We're going to be playing some just weird, interesting rhythms, beats, whatever you want to call it, in 4/4. About the only common thing about this, about what we're playing, is that it's in 4/4 time. But other than that, we're going to be playing some weird, interesting beats in 4/4. Now, that's not to say that these are difficult beats, but you may have to take a little bit longer to sit down and learn them just because you're not used to playing some of these beats. And you'll see what I mean as we get through this video. With that in mind, I'm going to do my best to explain where everything is starting and stopping, because the arrangement of this song in itself is just kind of weird, and especially with the drums coming in and out of the song and the interesting beats, I'm going to do my best to explain what's going on. But I will tell you, if you have a set of lyrics in front of you while I'm explaining this, it may help a little bit more. Or if you really know the song well, it's probably going to help. Let's go ahead and start with where the drums start. The drums are going to start at the first interlude. So basically, the song is going to intro with some chords on the piano and guitar, and then it's going to go into a set of lyrics, which is the first verse. After that, they're going to go into a small interlude, which is when we're going to come in on the drums. Now, the beat we're going to be playing is going to be carried out. This is going to be important to know. It's going to be carried out throughout the second verse, going to that first chorus. Also going to play this beat, the third verse, going into the second chorus. So the beat we're doing right now is for an interlude, it's for the second verse, and it's for the third verse. So starting off, we're going to have this beat. I'm going to play it for you, then I'll break it down, and then I'll plug the drums in so you can really hear what it's going to sound like. So it's going to be like this. Pretty simple, but it's just kind of weird that we're doing this with our hands. So it's just going to be eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're going to accent all the ones, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're going to accent the and of 2, the of 2, and we're going to accent the 3. So 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. Now, if you think about this, this is just like our normal kick pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just really playing it with our hands and just keeping eighth notes behind it. Now, we have that weird 16th note in there as we get to the beat of 3. When we do the and of 2, the of 2, and the 3, we're kind of slowly doing a crescendo every time, which is basically getting louder. We're not going to do all those hits at the same velocity. We're just going to go 1 and 2 and a 3. So I'm just gradually getting a little harder every time I hit those. And the eighth notes that are kind of between everything are not going to be very loud. They're just kind of just there to keep the rhythm. They're not real big and boomy. So I'll go ahead and plug it in and show you what it's going to sound like. So what we just played, once again, is starting at the interlude, our first interlude. We're playing it through the second verse, and we're going to play it through the third verse. Now between the second and third verse, there is a chorus. In that first chorus, we are not playing anything. We can maybe do a cymbal swell into it, or maybe hit our cymbals on quarter notes, or whatever works for your band and the way that your church likes to play music. but you're not going to be really doing anything with your kicks, snare, toms, any of that. You're just letting everyone else play and just letting that chorus go. So it's what we just played during the second verse, have a chorus, we're not playing anything, then we're playing that third verse with the same beat we just did, and now we're getting into the second chorus. Now the second chorus is going to have weird beats. And let me mention before I start this, the metronome is set at 74 beats a minute, which is what the song is at, and I have the metronome set on eighth notes right now. Once again, back to it. Second chorus. We're playing something kind of weird. Let's go ahead and start with what our foot's doing. We're just playing 4 on the floor. So all that is every quarter note, we're just playing the kick drum. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So now for beat 1, we're just going to hit both our cymbals. So 1, 2, 3, 4. On beat 2, we're going to play a flam on our floor tom. If you don't know what a flam is, you're going to get used to it through this song because we're going to play a decent amount of them. Basically, your dominant hand is going to lead into the drum, and your non-dominant hand is going to follow closely behind. So instead of hitting together like this, they're going to be a little off-put like that. Now, your left hand is not hitting as hard as, your non-dominant hand is not hitting as hard as your dominant hand. On beat 2, we're playing a flam on the floor tom. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, on beat 3, we're going to hit our floor tom with our kick drum, and then we're going to play a 16th note immediately after on the E of 3. So that will be 3E. 3E. So what we have so far is 1, 2, 3E. 1, 2, 3E. And then for the beat of 4, we're just going to be playing a flam on the snare drum while we play our kick drum at the same time, which falls within the 4 on the floor. So all together, before I plug it in, it's 1, 2, 3E, 4. 1, 2, 3E, 4. And now also what you can do as you get to the end of some of the bars is you can play 2 16th notes on your floor tom, the and the of 4. It's a real popular fill, real popular thing to do. So that would be 1, 2, 3E, 4, and a 1, 2, 3E, 4, and a. And I suggest playing those with 16th notes on your right hand so that way your left hand can quickly get to that crash cymbal. Let's go ahead and plug it up and see what this is going to sound like. Hey, this was just kind of an afterthought that just came to me. If you're in a church like I do and you don't have a lot of ambient music in the background filling in a lot of the things, and you don't have like a keyboard that does all the cool electronic sounds and everything, you may want to play quarter notes on your cymbals during this part or something, or play your cymbal with your snare drum on beat 4, something to fill it in a little bit more. I know at my church I struggle with this a lot. I'm the one that's always having to fill things in with cymbals. Now, the bass player and everyone else does their part with that, but I find myself having to use a lot more cymbals to try to fill things in. So if that's going to work for you in the way your band wants to do it, because it may feel a little dry and boring, go ahead and do it. Back to the video. What we just played, once again, is second chorus only. After that, the song is going to go into the bridge. I'm just going to kind of break the bridge up into different sections, because it will build a lot and get a little more complex as we go. Once again, it's an interesting beat that we're not really used to that we're going to play here. So what's going to happen is, after we're done with that, we're just going to hit our cymbals, and the rest of the instruments are going to play out and start playing us into the bridge. Now the bridge is going to go by 3 times. This is why it's important to have a lyric sheet in front of you, is because I can't really go through all the lyrics and do all that because copyright reasons and whatnot. So it's kind of better if you have that in front of you, or if you are just real familiar with the arrangement of this song. So the bridge is going to go by once, and we're not playing anything. We're just letting everyone else play and just let the bridge slowly build, is what we're kind of doing here. So once the bridge comes around the second time, we're going to be playing this beat, and I'll break it down in just a sec. So all this is we're accenting the 1, the 2 in the E of 2, the 3 in the E of 3. So if I were to count it, it'd be like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Just going to start doing this as we go into the second bridge. So as that bridge comes around, we're going to start this, and these are not real big, boomy, and hard. I'm just kind of accenting it so you can hear it and get a better idea. We're just going to start light on these. And then as the second time bridge progresses, basically once we get halfway through it, we're going to start putting the kick drum on 1 to accent those 1s a little harder. So it would be like this. I'll try to exaggerate the legs so you can see it since I don't really have a pedal camera. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let me go ahead and plug that up, show you what it's going to sound like, then we'll talk about the rest of the bridge. Now the bridge is going to come around a third time, and this is when we're really going to start playing heavy and getting into it. So we're going to keep that same pattern with our right hand on the floor tom. And now with our kick drum, we're just going to start playing every quarter note. So that's 4 on the floor, just like we did earlier. So, trying to exaggerate my leg to show you, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So just that kick drum is playing all those quarter notes, our right hand still doing the same thing. Now on beat 4, we're going to add a flam on our snare drum. So this is going to look like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that flam is falling with our quarter note on 4 with the kick drum. What we're also going to do is on beat 1, we're going to also hit our cymbals to accent it. So we're not always going to be playing it on the floor tom. We're going to hit our cymbals to really start building through this. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And now lastly what I'll say is once again we can add in that those 16th notes on the beat of 4, doing the and the of 4 on the floor tom. So that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1. Let me go ahead and plug that up and show you what it's going to sound like. Then we'll talk about how we're going to basically kind of play an outro sort of thing for the bridge. So what we just played was the bridge the third time around. Now we're going into the bridge fourth time around. I know I said it was only 3, but it comes around to fourth time, but there's just no lyrics. It's just instruments, and we're going to be playing all out with kind of what we've been doing, but we're just going to kind of complicate it now. The first thing is we are going to be playing 16th notes on our right hand with the floor tom. So that's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. The 16th notes with our right hand. Now we're also playing 8th notes on the kick drum. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Those accents we were doing with our right hand on the 2 in the E of 2 and the 3 in the E of 3 are going to be moved to our left hand, and we're going to be playing the rack tom on those beats. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. On beat 4, instead of playing a flam, if you just want to play the flam on beat 4 to keep things simple, go ahead and do it. What's going on beat 4 is a crescendo of 16th notes on the snare drum, basically. So our left hand is going to come down and play 4 E and a. Once again, it's a crescendo, it's just getting a little louder every time, and we're playing those with our right hand. So it would be like 4 E and a. Now all together, I know it's getting a little complicated, we have this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Like I said, I know it's getting a little complicated, but that's how we're going to do it. And you're hitting your crash cymbals on beat 1. That was a lot to take in. Let's go ahead and plug it up and show you what it's going to sound like. We're going to crash as we get to, a 1 count, and we're just going to die out. Everything's going to kind of die out, and we're going to start going to what is now the 4th verse. We're not really playing anything. We're going to just really be playing a small crescendo in there. This is the one time I will use lyrics, because I think I'm allowed to. When we get to Rob the Grave, we are going to build a little bit on our floor tom, just playing a little crescendo, and that's going to be on beat 3 is where that's going to land. So it'll be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. And on 3, I'm giving a punch with my kick drum as well. Now what he does is he throws in some weird tom things kind of between what's going on before we do this build. If you want, you can just keep time with 8th notes on the floor tom. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and then just kind of feel out where this build is going to be. Now this build that we're going to do is going to be really simple. It's 3 bars of 8th notes with all of our limbs except, our left foot. So left hand's on the snare, right hand's on the floor tom, and kick drum is just playing 8th notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's for 3 bars. This isn't complicated. You guys got this. This is easy. You know how to do this. We're going to do that for 3 bars. The last bar, our hands are going to play 16th notes. So we're going to double what our foot is doing. Our foot is going to stay on 8th notes here. And what we're going to do is we're going to have an open washy hi-hat, so we're going to lift our left foot up a little bit. And then we're going to keep our right hand on our floor tom as our left hand moves up here. So these are playing 16th notes, which is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And then our foot is still just playing 8th notes. Now as we get to beat 3, our right hand is going to come over here to the snare drum and play the rest of the build to really just give it a nice ending to this build before we go into this beat. So real quick, what I'm about to play for you guys is I'm playing the Rob the Grave part. So 1 and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and build. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. It's real simple. You guys got this. It's not too complicated, especially if you listen along with the song. I'm going to go ahead and plug it up and show you what it's going to sound like. Finally, we are to a normal part of the song where things are just going to get a little more easy because we're just grooving, just playing a nice beat, and it's going to be real nice and open and plenty of room for some pretty cool fills. So let's go ahead and go over the beat, and then we'll talk about maybe some of the fills and stuff we may want to add into this section of the song. So we're going to have an open hi-hat playing eighth notes on it. So that's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 ands. Let's talk about what our left hand's doing because it's really simple before we get to our kick drum. Left hand's just playing 2 and 4 on the snare drum like it would in any basic 4/4 groove. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now let's talk about the kick drum. The kick drum has sort of a weird pattern because it has a 16th note in it. So our kick drum is playing on 1 in the and of 1. It's playing on the of 2. It's playing on beat 3 in the and of 3. So it's this all together. I'm not going to put the left hand in just so you're not confused. 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. So what's weird about the kick drum here is that it's falling on a 16th note between our right hand. It has to also get back on track when our right hand hits beat 3. So it's a 3, a 3. You may want to practice that a little bit and getting that sort of 16th note down with your right-handed kick drum. So it's a 3, 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. Now, if you don't like that 16th note there, if you find it kind of difficult to play and you just can't quite do it yet, I encourage you to go work on doing that. Now, if you want something that's going to help you do that, a beat that's going to help you do that, a beat that everyone knows, and I know it's not a Christian song, but it's one of the most iconic drum beats in the entire world that everyone who's ever played drums has tried to learn how to play once in their life, and that is the intro to Walk This Way by Run DMC and Aerosmith. There's that iconic little drum beat that goes on at the intro, and it's got that sort of it's that 16th note kick pattern. That's basically exactly what we're doing in this song. So that's something if you want to go learn, or maybe if you want to reference to get an idea of what I'm talking about here. But if you can't do that 16th note, I encourage you just play the 8th notes that I'm talking about. Play the 1 in the and of 1, and play the 3 in the and of 3. With all that said, let's go ahead. I'm going to show you one more time, counting it out, what it's going to look like, and I'll plug it up and show you what it's going to sound like. So 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. Let me go ahead, plug it up, show you what it's going to sound like. Oh, I almost forgot to talk about fills. Fills, real quick. Fills you want to do here, this is a real energetic part of the song. This is just really kind of what is almost the climax of the song. It's real energetic. So I would play 16th note fills or 32nd note fills if you think you're fast enough and in time enough to do that. Also, what I like to do is add some 8th note triplets in here. So maybe do a full bar of 8th note triplets around the kit, or just do like an 8th note triplet on beat 4 only on the snare drum. Something like that, real open to different kind of fill ideas. I just wouldn't try to do anything like 8th notes that are kind of slower. Anyways, with that said, let me go ahead and plug it up, show you what it's going to sound like. So that's the groove we're playing for the final chorus and basically the last bridge. The chorus is going to turn into the bridge. The lyrics are going to change. Musically on the drums, everything's staying the same. We're still just playing that nice open groove, just making it feel real open and real energetic. Now, the part of the video most of you guys probably been waiting for or wanted to learn is what is this tom groove that he's doing near the end of the song when there's just like a drum and bass breakdown. Before you try to learn this, or I even try to teach it to you, I want to say your church may not do this. This is kind of done where they're at. It's a huge, massive church where this sort of thing, I would say, is more common in their worship settings. At smaller churches, probably not. You're probably not going to do this. While it may be cool and fun to play, you're probably not going to do it. But that's not to say that you shouldn't try to learn this or do it. And I will also say that I'm not going to teach this 100% accurate. I'm doing my best to what I heard on the song and watching him play it. This is the best that I could come up with to what he's doing, the closest representation of what I can get. And for me, it's kind of complicated to do, but I'm not acting like I'm some drum guru who knows how to do everything. So for you, it might actually just be easy, and I just think it's hard because I suck. So, getting into what it is, let's start with what's going to stay the most consistent, our kick drum. Kick drum's playing quarter notes, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. The only time we're not playing on a quarter note is our kick drum is going to play the 16th note of 3, which is the of 3, right before beat 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so with that down, we are now going to start talking about each beat individually. So let's do beat 1. Beat 1, we're hitting our cymbals with our kick drum on beat 1. And then we're going to play our rack tom and floor tom on the of 1. So that's 1, 2. So that 2 that I hit was just the kick drum falling on the 4 on the floor. So let's do that again. 1, 2. Alright, and then in beat 2, we're going to play the and and the of 2. Once again, on the rack tom and floor tom together. So 1, 2, and 1, 2, and So that's the first 2 beats. And then now, right after that, once again, we got a kick drum falling on beat 3. And we're going to play our right hand on the floor tom with that kick drum. So 1, 2, and 3. And then our left hand is coming over to play the E of 3. And our hands are going to kind of do this alternating 3, because it's going to be 3, E, and. So from beat 3, we have, with our kick drum falling on 3, 3, E, and. 3, E, and. So all together, 1, 2, and 3, E, and. 1, 2, and 3, E, and. And then, following that, after that and, we have that 16th note with the of 3 on the kick drum, and then the 4 right after. And landing on beat 4, we're going to have a flam on the snare drum. So that of beat 3 is kind of a quick note to get ready to play that flam on beat 4. So starting from beat 3, we have this. 3, E, and 4. 3, E, and 4. So, all together, it would be this. 1, 2, and 3, E, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, E, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, E, and 4. And that is the closest thing that I could come up with to what he's doing. And once again, if you feel the need, play those 2 16th notes on the and the of 4 on your floor tom, because I believe that's what he does here as well. I'm going to plug that up and show you what it's going to sound like. Now, if you're not doing this at church, and also I'll just kind of explain this as well. If you're not doing this at church, you're probably just going to play out what's going on with that big groove, and you're just going to end it some way. If you do the drum breakdown, what we're going to do is, at the end of it, we're going to just do a build like we did earlier, playing 16th notes and then switching to our snare drum. And then we're going right back into that same big groove we were doing. So I'm going to go ahead and try to play that tom groove for you. Well, there it is. That's the tutorial for Resurrecting by Elevation Worship. I really hope that this drum tutorial helped you guys out. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I just want to give a quick few seconds to talk about sort of why I haven't been making videos. So late last year, kind of starting into this year, I was going from a substitute teacher to becoming a paraprofessional for a school. So I had this change in my job where I had to really transition and get kind of used to my new job, I guess I would say. Also having all these college classes that I was having to spend a lot of time doing and a lot of effort into those. And also my car got stolen, and so dealing with insurance and going through the process of getting a new car and all that has just been kind of hectic. Now I say all that to say this. So I obviously still monitored my YouTube channel. I replied to a few comments, but what I noticed is I haven't made a video in maybe about 2 months, I think. I think it's probably been more than 2 months. But I hadn't made a video in so long, and I was like just waiting for the number of subscribers on this channel to just go down. And it actually went up. The whole time that I hadn't made a video, the subscriber count was going up. And that's not me bragging, saying I don't have to make videos to get subscribers. What that tells me is that there's people that are really liking the content on this channel and want more of it and are waiting for more of it. And so that tells me that I just need to get on making more videos, and it's just kind of an appropriate time around Easter to be making this specific drum tutorial, and I will be trying to make more as time allows. I want to say thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed, and you've just been keeping with the channel, and that you're asking questions in the comments. If you ask questions in the comments, I will go in and answer them. If you're going to be like many people and leave a rude comment on one of my older videos when I first started playing drums and all you want to do is say how bad I was at timing, I mean, you can do it, but I just don't get why you would do that. This is a Christian channel. We're trying to build each other up, not really tear each other down here. So that doesn't really make sense to me. But anyways, thank you so much everyone for watching this video. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe below for more content similar to it in the future. Leave a thumbs up if you learned something new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.